Today, we'll be checking out some riveting ideas for painting metallics using Army Painter speed paints. Let's go. Gold always looks great when it's on the tabletop, and it really catches the eye, but sometimes it can be a labour of love. For instance, these Stormcast. They took a lot of layers of paint to achieve, and if I were to do them again today, I would do them differently. For a quick gold, I used 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 armour spray, and it was great back in the day. But the main thing I dislike in recent times is the dull, horrible matte finish that it comes up with. Even when touching up the miniature afterwards with the equivalent paint pot, it doesn't even look the same. And yes, I would try a number of things to get this to work properly, such as vigorously jiggling the can to the length of 𝗍𝗍𝗍 shake it off. I would also give the spray can a nice loving soak in warm water. And I even tried writing a letter to Santa once, but to no avail. Enter speed paints. This Gondorian warrior was sprayed with gunmetal first before I started to apply a layer of sand golem speed paint. With very little paint needed, it has great coverage and creates a shiny gold straight away. With the properties of speed paint, it naturally flows into the recesses to create a darker shade for you. Previously, I would have had to spray the miniature, tidied up the spray with a paint, used a flesh wash to create my shaded areas, then apply a second gold due to my previous wash matting down the shine, and eventually I would have something similar to this. So with just one paint used, I have saved time already. Nice. If you would like a darker gold, simply apply a second layer straight away, and you can keep on going until your desired effect. Using a fine tip brush now, some highlights were applied to make the gold edges of the armour stand out. Note that you could dry brush this instead, and you'll get a similar result if you are tidy. For the next experiment, the sand golem was used once more on the metal armour of this Easterling warrior. Once dry, some dark wood was mixed with some speed paint medium and applied onto our golden armour. Now, this diluted paint is partially transparent, and it will allow some of that golden shine to be seen slightly through this layer. With that, we have created a nice dark coppery look to it. I can immediately think this would be perfect for evil miniatures such as 𝗁𝗏𝗏𝗏. Although, I'm quite liking it on this Easterling warrior. The final touch was to add a dry brush of silver and make the edges of the armour more pronounced. Note that between each speed paint stage, the drying time was left to a minimal, a minute maximum I would say. So if you were to batch paint some troops, say around 10, then by the time you are on your last one, you will be able to apply the next paint on the first one straight away. For a couple of years, I've used this nut brown ink by Winsor & Newton as a replacement to a discontinued Chestnut Ink by Citadel. And this was okay until I found a new solution. By mixing hardened leather with a small amount of Slaughter Red and adding a touch of medium, I am able to recreate my favourite gold look once more. I can see this deep, rich, reddish look to the gold would be useful for so many miniatures. And this will be one of my go-to gold recipes for the foreseeable future, because I have lots of elves to paint soon. Hopefully, these experiments using speed paints has got you thinking how creative you can be with a paint range. It will be great for armies that utilise a lot of metal, including ones that wear a lot of armour, such as Middle-earth and other fantasy games. Now, this Easterling warrior already had a layer of greedy gold as a base coat, so to give the armour depth, hardened leather with a bit of medium was applied over it. As mentioned earlier, the medium will give this colour a bit of translucency and enable the gold underneath to still shine through. To speed things up for the video, a hairdryer was used before a final dry brush of plate mail metal was given to the edges of the intricate armour. And to create that aged oxidized look, some elemental bolt from the normal range of acrylic paints was heavily diluted with quick shade wash mixing medium. Just add random dots here and there and let it flow into some of the recesses. This is the technique that I used for my Easterling warriors to make the armour that they wear more interesting to look at. I also wanted to see how the speed paints are when being applied through an airbrush, and oh my gosh, they work a treat. Only a few drops are needed and it comes out as smooth as a straw. The paints dry almost instantly, and you can layer up the speed paint to create darker areas in seconds. And with the flat surface of the shield staring at me, I wanted to try something here. As this video is all about experimenting and discovery, and I absolutely implore you to do the same and just have a play around with these speed paints and see what you come up with. Some purple alchemy was put through the airbrush and applied to the lower part of the shield. And then this was followed up immediately with magic blue at the very bottom. This created a heat mark on the metal, which would be perfect for those sci-fi enthusiasts, and of course our 40k hobby friends out there. Or, as I look at it more, perhaps something more 𝐻𝑑𝐃𝐒-like for some cool chaos looking armor. I also tested out by using a hobby knife that you can create quick chips, scratches, and some wear to the shield, and this worked out well, as it only took the speed paint layers off and left the original gunmetal base layer. And I think I can make use of this technique later on for a future project. So what technique stood out for you the most today? And what would you next paint using it? For myself, it's opened up even more possibilities of how I can use these speed paints effectively as a painter. The question is, will I be using this fantastically temperamental gold spray anymore? Nope. And if you want to check out even more tips and tricks using the Army Painter speed paints, then check out this video right here. And if you are subscribed, then please do turn on the notification bell, and you'll be the first to know when the next video arrives. Thanks for watching, and until next time, keep on hobbying.